The Buffalo Bills were originally a franchise member of the American Football League, but joined the NFL during the merger in 1970. And in the time since, the Bills have developed one of the most dedicated fan bases in the league. The team's fans, who are commonly referred to as the Bills Mafia, are famous for the epic tailgates that they hold before their home games, regardless of the frigid Buffalo temperatures. Everyone, and I mean everyone around football, has heard of the Bills Mafia. And how could they not? There are tens of thousands of Buffalo Bills fans that funnel into the surrounding parking lots to tailgate before the games every Sunday, and their home videos spread like wildfire on the internet. It doesn't matter if the videos show people flying through tables, flinging food, or chugging drinks. As far as the internet is concerned, the good people of Buffalo can do no wrong. I don't think there's a single fan base that is more universally loved by other sports fans than the Bills Mafia. And while their tailgating antics and viral dominance are a big part of that, there's another factor at play, one that any self-aware member of the Bills Mafia probably knows, at least somewhere in the back of their mind. It's easy for other NFL fans to smile along with Bills Mafia because the franchise has a rather non-threatening reputation, a lovable loser sort of vibe to them, so to speak. And it isn't just because the franchise has a lifetime record under 500, or that they have qualified for the postseason just once since the millennium, or even because despite winning 4 straight AFC championships between 1990 and 1993, the Buffalo Bills still have never won a Super Bowl. But rather is the sum of the Bills' failures that make the team so easy for other NFL fans to root for. I mean, do you know how hard it is to make it to 4 straight Super Bowls and not win one? You'd think they would have had to at least take one home, even by accident. And that's the thing about the Buffalo Bills, though. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. And for a franchise like Buffalo, there's no shortage of saddening moments to point to. Some are heartbreaking, some are maddening, and some are just depressing. There was one moment that happened back in 1998, while the Bills were actually enjoying a period of success that die-hard Buffalo Bills fans point to as one of the worst moments in franchise history. While it isn't a franchise-defining blunder like Scott Norwood's infamous wide right field goal attempt in Super Bowl 25, it was another disastrous turn of fate for a franchise that seemingly has an endless amount of these moments. It was Week 12 of the 1998 season, and the 7-4 Bills had a road contest against a 6-5 New England Patriots team that they had just beaten at home 13-10 2 weeks prior. This one was much rockier from the start, as it saw the Pats jump out to a 14-0 lead early. As the Bills floundered, tempers started to flare, and the refs needed to get involved a handful of times. Buffalo was able to close the gap a little bit at the end of the second quarter following 2 successful field goal attempts and went into the locker room down just 8. Following the intermission, the Bills were able to pick up where they left off, and their momentum continued to grow. Steve Christie chipped in another field goal, and quarterback Doug Flutie threw a pair of touchdowns to Eric Moulds and Andre Reed, both of which were followed by failed 2-point conversions. Buffalo's defense was solid after New England's initial run, holding the Patriots to just a lone field goal most of the way through the fourth quarter. As the game got inside the 2-minute warning, the score stood at Buffalo 21, New England 17, and the Patriots started their final drive on their own 10-yard line with just 1 minute and 52 seconds left on the clock. The Bills' defense had looked stout in the second half, and Bills Mafia was feeling good. A win in this one would put them 2 ahead of the Pats in the standings while keeping pace with their divisional rivals, the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets, who were both also 7-4. New England quarterback Drew Bledsoe, who had fractured the index finger on his throwing hand the week before, completed a quick string of 4 passes that spanned 40 yards, and the Pats made it to the Buffalo 37-yard line. Fortunately for Buffalo, its defense found its bite and regained its composure, stifling Bledsoe and the Pats to force a 4th and 9 with just 11 seconds left. Bledsoe then threw a 10-yard pass down the sideline to receiver Sean Jefferson, and it appeared, especially to the Bills fans and players, that Jefferson was in the bounds and short of the first down marker, both of which would have ended the game right then and there. Bills coach Wade Phillips, who was stationed right near the play, gave his 2 cents on it after the game. "That play happened right in front of me," Phillips said. "The guy was out of bounds." Now, this is where the Buffalo Bills flavor gets added to the story, because what happens next really could only happen to the Bills. According to Flutie and Reed, who were both standing on the sideline right near the action, he heard one of the officials say, "Just give it to them." Needless to say, the Bills players were furious, but they were still up 4 points and very much in the driver's seat. All they needed to do was make one more stop, that's it, and the game would be over, and just give it to them might not have even been brought up. But instead, more controversy ensued, and just give it to them became another battle scar for a fan base that had seen more than its fair share of them. The clock stopped with 6 seconds left, and Bledsoe had one more shot to get his team in the end zone. Bledsoe, still donning the splint on his broken finger, dropped back and hucked one high into the Foxborough sky, towards a cluster of players from both sides. The two closest were Pats wide receiver Terry Glenn and Bills safety Henry Jones, and they rose up to try and secure the ball. The pass floated down and bounced off of the chest of Glenn, and everyone thought the game was over until they realized that a flag had been thrown. The referees gathered, and when the huddle broke, the head official came out and called Jones for pass interference. This was an insane call, especially considering the circumstances. While there was some contact, it's pretty hard to say who initiated it. And besides, there are dozens of Hail Mary passes thrown every football season, and pass interference is simply never called. Guys get away with murder on these jump ball plays. But once that precedent was set, that's just how the play has always been officiated, except for this one time apparently. Bills cornerback Thomas Smith explained after the game what a chaotic cluster it was back there and how shocked he was that the officials threw a flag. Everybody was jockeying for position back there. There is no way you can call that. I've been playing football for a long time, never seen that. Jones echoed a similar sentiment saying, Thomas Smith jumped. I was supposed to get the deflection. They never called a number. Did they call it on me? There was so much commotion. I've never seen a game end like this. The Patriots now had the ball on the 1-yard line, and the Bills players, coaches, and fans were in complete disbelief. And well, they played out the game's final second looking completely out of sorts, just like the shell-shocked team they were. Bledsoe took advantage, easily connecting with a wide-open Ben Coates to steal the victory right from the Bills' grasps. The Bills were so downtrodden that they didn't even send any players out for the Patriots' point-after attempt, and kicker Adam Vinatieri just literally walked into the end zone for a 2-point conversion.
The extra point attempt is coming, and now they're going to run for 2. They do. Adam Vinatieri runs for a 2-point conversion.
After the game, all the Bills players wanted to do was give their perspectives on the crazy pass interference call. It was so dramatic that it seemed like most of the guys completely forgot about the controversial play that happened just moments before it. Jones, who the penalty was called on, said, I don't know what he was watching. We all just jumped. I've never seen anything like that in my life. We was robbed, plain and simple. Buffalo linebacker Gabe Northrum said, I have been playing football since I was 8. I'm 24. I have never seen anything like that. A penalty on a Hail Mary? And while the players were more gutted by the pass interference call, Coach Phillips did not lose sight of the whole chain of events. I don't know how these officials are allowed to make those calls. You have one play in which the receiver was clearly out of bounds right in front of me, and another play where just a bunch of guys are jumping up in the air. I don't understand it. Perhaps the most distraught of all was Bills owner Ralph Wilson, who claimed to have had a premonition that exactly that was going to happen. I've been watching football for 6 decades. Pass interference, what was that? We got robbed. It's awful. Before the last play, I turned and told my daughter Linda, look, Bledsoe was going to throw a Hail Mary and we're going to get called for pass interference. And that's what happened. I wish I could call the stock market like that. It's awful. Talk about a self-fulfilling prophecy, huh? Anyway, the Patriots would kick the ball off, time would expire, and the game was over. Final score, Patriots 25, Bills 21. What really killed the Bills wasn't that they'd had the game won. Before that final 1 minute and 52 seconds, they were 8-4 and ready to make a run at the AFC East Championship. Instead, they fell a game off pace of Miami and New York. But what really helps to catapult the just give it to them game into the upper echelon of Buffalo Bills tragedies was how the rest of the season played out for this talented roster. Buffalo would finish off the season winning 3 of their final 4 games, but the one loss in Week 16 against the Jets clinched the division for New York. And even though the Bills finished 10-6 and made the playoffs as a wild-card team, that damned Week 12 affair with New England would still somehow come back to bite them. That one loss ended up being the difference between hosting Miami and having to travel down to visit them for Wild Card Weekend, which obviously plays a huge role in the final outcome of the game. Miami notoriously struggles traveling all the way up north to play in Buffalo, and at that time of year, it would have been a massive home field advantage for the Bills. But because of that loss, Buffalo ultimately had to fly down to Miami to play the game in 80-degree weather under sunny skies, and the Dolphins promptly discharged them by a score of 24-17. If you are wondering, the weather in Buffalo that Saturday, about 16 degrees. Yeah, it's safe to say that Dan Marino and the Dolphins might have had some trouble adjusting to the frigid conditions. That is what makes the Bills, though. There's a comedy of errors and misfortune that just seem to follow the franchise no matter what. They can change coaches, change players, you name it. There is just something about Buffalo that results in these devastating moments time and time again. And just give it to them might just be the worst of them. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to click the subscribe button down below. If you liked the video, then like the video, we'd really appreciate it. And until next time, tune in to TPS for more cool videos every single day.